Why are millionaires fleeing Maryland? Now, many people think that high taxes on the wealthy are exactly what's needed in order to fund public services. But what happened in Maryland in 2008 tells a different story. You see, that year, Maryland introduced 4 new income tax brackets, with the highest topping out at 6.25% for incomes over $1 million. Now remember, this is in addition to all of the other taxes that are also being paid. Now, the expectation is that more revenue from the ultra-rich would bolster the state's finances in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis. But the reality turned out to be pretty different. Instead of rising revenue, tax returns actually plummeted, with a 30% drop in millionaire filers and a 22% drop in declared income. Obviously, the consequences were pretty devastating. Montgomery County, one of Maryland's wealthiest, saw nearly $4 billion vanish from its tax base in just 1 year. As many as 1 in 8 millionaires moved away right after the tax was passed. Meanwhile, states like Florida and Texas, which boast no personal income tax, were more than happy to welcome the influx. And to make matters even worse, when these rich residents fled Maryland, they didn't just take their tax revenues with them. Think about the businesses or investments that also followed. Or how about just all the things that wealthy people tend to buy in their local economy? All of that extra revenue vanished almost overnight. As a result, Maryland faced an explosive budget shortfall of $2 billion, and Montgomery County alone lost out on about $750 million. And it's not like politicians then shrank their budgets in order to make up for this departure of tax revenue. Because they had already paid a disproportionate amount of taxes, the loss of even a few of Maryland's ultra-wealthy meant that there was less money for schools, infrastructure, and public services that the entire state uses. And while Maryland's tax policy aimed to generate more revenue, it instead opened the floodgates to a mass exodus of ultra-wealthy residents to states that have friendlier tax environments. Once more, if we fast forward to today, we see that Maryland isn't the only state suffering from this problem. California, New York, and Illinois are all expected to lose congressional seats in the next census because these states impose punitive taxes that are driving hundreds of thousands of people to states like Florida, Texas, and Tennessee. Ultimately, the story of Maryland's missing millionaires reveals something the economist Frederick Bastiat discovered over 140 years ago about what you might call the seen versus the unseen. Maryland's policymakers focused on the seen, which was the expected revenue from higher taxes, but completely missed the unseen, and that was the mass exodus of wealth that left the entire state poorer as a result. Unfortunately, instead of learning from Maryland's mistake, about half the country seems to be doubling down. And it's no longer just millionaires who are voting with their feet. Because when you create a tax environment where you punish success and investment, you get less of it. And it's not just the tax revenue that you lose from those millionaires, it's everybody else that misses out on opportunities, on jobs, and on just being able to sell products to people that would have bought them. So ultimately, if you want to actually generate more tax revenue, the way you do it is not by punishing success, but by fostering it.